We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
King first, last. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Welcome to Brews and Reviews with Mick and Pat. I'm Mick.
And I'm Pat.
And each week we sit down with you degenerates and pretend we're certified cicerones and cinephiles.
That is right. So grab a cold one and join us as we review Anderson Valley's The Pilsner and Season 2 of FX's The Bear.
And if you've been with us before, you know what time it is.
Release the Kraken!
Alrighty. We're fancy these days. We don't drink out of the can anymore. We pour it in a glass.
Yeah. It's true. First I bought us some kind of nice glasses, then you went and bought us some French glasses. No, these are from Israel. That's right.
Yep. Yeah, these are from a Palestinian beer company.
Dude, this beer is like, you could tell me this is water and
Yeah, it's
oh, I guess it's a lot darker when you take it and like you don't have a computer screen behind it.
yeah. Oh yeah. But still it is it's going to be a light beer, it's going to be kind of lighter than some of the stuff we go after,
Which I gotta say, dude, I got my father-in-law for his birthday. I forgot that I sent it down with my brother-in-law, but my brother-in-law came up here and we did like a top 10 breweries tour. And one of them we went to, I got Horse and Dragon's Midnight Stallion.
Oh yeah.
And I sent it home with him to give to his dad's because I had been wanting to give it to him for a while. We popped it on Christmas.
Oh, nice.
And drank it together, and it was great. I forgot how good that beer was. Like we popped it on Christmas, and it was like noon. I was like, I don't know, dog. This is a lot to be. But then I had it, and I was like, I forgot how good this was. I could drink this all day. I did it because it's heavy.
It's heavy beer.
But this fudging guy, dude, walks into my house, and he's like, I brought beer. And I look over him, and I see he's got a mixed 6-pack. 3 of them are the New Belgium Christmas Ale.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, get your butt out of my house, dog. I was so mad. I was like, do you even listen to the podcast? And he's like, yeah, no, that's why I brought it, because I know you hate it. Oh, dude.
That's hilarious.
Anyways.
Too many flavors.
Just tangent. The beers from the Brews and Reviews are really making their rounds, is all I'm saying, all right?
Oh, yeah. You're getting out there. But Anderson Valley Brewing Company, which on the can here, and all of their cans, is a bear with antlers on it.
Which, audience at home, you may have never seen this before. But if you see a grizzly bear with antlers, well, what usually has antlers? Deer. So what do you call a half bear, half deer?
A beer.
A beer.
A beer.
Yep.
There it is. The beer. And if you're seeing that, you might be on the magic mushrooms. You might need to not operate machinery for the next couple hours.
Yeah.
Or kill that thing so that we can put it in a museum.
No, don't kill it. Let it go on.
No, yeah.
Let it go off. Appreciate its majesty.
I'm like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Bro, I'd cry if I saw it. Like, don't you think you'd have an emotional breakdown? If you saw a bear with antlers, like an even set of antlers, don't you think you'd like cry?
Oh, yeah, I would wonder what
because like the
going
biggest,
on.
you know immediately. Like if you're sober, you know immediately. No one will ever believe this.
Oh yeah,
like no one will ever believe this.
Even if you get the video evidence, because it's a wild world with editing these days.
True that.
But this is a wordy can. I don't even know if I'm going to read the whole thing. Maybe I will, but
it's
called the Pilsner. That's all it's named. It's a Pilsner beer, and it's called the Pilsner. So I wonder if they just didn't want to go to the effort of naming it, or if they consider this the Pilsner. I don't know.
I think they only have one Pilsner.
Right.
So that might be why they just call it the Pilsner. Because they have I was telling you, my first beer that I ever bought for myself from like a liquor store, like a 6-pack or 4-pack,
Mm-hmm.
was actually Anderson Valley's Blood Orange Goza, which is like a play on a sour beer. And I bought it specifically because of the artwork. And they have 5 or 6 Gosas. So I think they just call it a Pilsner because they literally only have one.
Yeah.
Like they don't have any others.
Which makes sense. I don't think they have the audacity to call it the Pilsner of all Pilsners.
Sure.
But so far it's good. It's 5.5% ABV, and the Pilsner. This is the Pilsner, also known as the mother of all beer flavored beers. Soft, crisp, flavorful, and clean. And while it's extremely drinkable, it's also engaging and complex. It's not easy to make such a delicious and nuanced beer, but we do things like that often. You're welcome. I like the can. I like that they go with the beer bear. On all of them, they look good. And this brewery is out of California.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Get ready to drink, people.
Yeah. So it's Anderson Valley Brewing Company was founded the day after Christmas on December 26th, 1987 in the town of Boonville, California. They just had a small 10-barrel warehouse or brew house going inside their original brew pub in the small town. And they've just been growing over the last, what is that? Last 40, almost 40 years.
We're getting close.
36 years. There we go. Last 36 years. And now you can find it in a lot of places. They're stocked on the shelves. You can probably find this at your bigger liquor stores. But there was an interesting thing on here that
wait, hold on. Can I just say, you literally, this is a brewery from California.
Yeah.
And there's no mention of how they started in their basement
I know.
craft beer.
There isn't. No, they just
So much respect.
I know. They're just it's an old town that was let's see here. Where did this go? Where did the history of this thing go that I had pulled all up on here?
Boonville, California?
Boonville, California.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I scrolled too far down. So, it was discovered, or should I say rediscovered, because there was some tribes living there in 1851 when Walter Anderson tracked a wounded deer through the wilderness and was separated from his hunting party. And after many hours of trailing the deer, he crested a rocky outcropping just south of what is now Boonville and looked out onto the land. While he never reported the fate of the deer, he did tell his companions about the spectacular valley he found.
Damn.
So his hunt was a little more successful than just a deer.
Can you imagine how magical that must have felt at the time?
Oh, incredible.
Like, man's living Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just real life.
Just over the next hill, you don't know what it is, and you find this spot, and so people started settling there.
If I don't get this deer, I'll starve. And
Yeah.
then you, like, crest over the hill, you're like, I'll never go hungry again. This hidden valley.
It's incredible.
That's I was gonna say a lot of our listeners are praising Anderson Valley right now for not making them take a shot of Burnett's in their car on their way home from work. So thanks guys for not talking about how you started in a basement.
It is.
I'm pretty sure everyone dreads when they put on an episode because they always remember. If they say they started in the basement of Two Dudes Craft Brewing, you got to take a shot.
Yeah. It's the rule. No matter where you're at.
Got to take a drink.
No matter where you're at. But something interesting about this town, Boonsville, is a language called Boontling has come about.
Boontling?
Boontling.
I like it.
And it has a vocabulary of about 1,600 words. Fewer than 100 individuals are able to fluently speak it.
This is real?
This is real. This is in the town of Boonville, Boontling. And even in World War I, it was used, kind of like in World War II, we had the Navajo talkers because of Navajo language, super hard language to to learn, and just a very unique language. And so we used guys. We'd have a Navajo guy on each side of a radio over in the Pacific, and they'd be relaying messages back and forth. In World War I, they used it to sneak messages past military sensors, and it gained notoriety in that time. Also in the 60s, it kind of came on, and then it's been declining over the last 40 years. But here are some bootling words for you. Applehead. What do you think applehead means?
Oh, that's a car.
Yeah, applehead is a girlfriend, obviously.
Damn.
A girlfriend.
I know what I'm calling Billie Jean now.
You applehead.
That's my applehead.
Yeah. What's a heelch?
A heelch?
A heelch.
A heelch.
Uh-huh.
A heelch, most people would think that's like a goalie between two hills. But a heelch is actually the bucket that you milk a cow into.
I love it. It's a large amount of something derived from, quote, the whole cheese. Heelch. Whole cheese. Anyways.
It's a heelch of shit is what I say.
Yeah, I know. We got the... it goes on forever. I love these. What's a deep ender?
A deep ender?
Yeah, deep
I know
ender.
what that is. I feel like that's more of like a Midwest thing I've heard. But a deep ender is like when you're in over your head. Like, no?
I think that's how we would use that as best we could. But
that's a real deep ender, dude. And that's
it's
like when your truck goes in the ditch.
Yeah, I agree. Like, like you found out, like, you're like, hey, I messed up. Like, I ended up like, streaking
bet
in
it
a
all on
game,
black.
and I lost my girlfriend, I lost my job. Yeah, that's a deep ender for sure. But no, it's what they refer to the residents of the town of Navarro, which is just located due west of Anderson Valley.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
All right. Here's the last one. We'll do. Then there's a lot that we can have a lot of fun with. But what's where did it go on me? We have a horn of Z's.
A horn of Z's?
A horn of Z's. I think I'm going to use this from now on.
A horn of Z's?
A horn of Z's.
A horn of Z's is... Gosh, dude, I don't. I'm trying here to I'm trying not to just think basically what makes sense.
Nuts.
Horn of Z's nuts. Okay.
That's not a good hint. That's just
horn of Z's is. I'm gonna say a horn of Z's is a lot of problems. That's like the expression of I got 99 problems, but it ain't one.
Yes, very close. It is a cup of coffee.
Damn.
Yeah,
dude, a horn of Z's.
A horn of Z's, dude.
Wait, why does this? That's like a Tim Hortons.
Oh,
I bet. I don't know. Maybe not. But to me, that makes
Yeah.
sense, like a Tim Hortons, because Tim Hortons is like the Midwest coffee. It's like the Dunkin' Donuts of the Midwest.
Could be. But anyways, this is in this tiny town in California, bringing you beer and a wild language.
Dude, I'm going to learn it now.
That I'm going to start looking into, like Klingon.
No, but it's cool. That's it's like hillbilly. That's like Creole, but from California.
Yeah, and you could, here, I'll just give you a couple more. Ballgorms means good food. Bucky Walter.
Whoa, wait, say ballgorms. Like, describe.
Ballgorms?
Say that steak was ballgorms.
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 Ballgorms. Yep, good food. Bucky Walter is a payphone. And, like I said already, a horn of Z's, a cup of coffee.
How much you want to bet they just saw a guy using that thing and they're like, what is that, Bucky? And he's like, it's a payphone. And then it just became a Bucky Walters because it's like, hey, the thing Bucky uses. Bucky Walters.
Yeah, like the only payphone in town was at Bucky Walters General Store.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
exactly.
Like, hey, get the Bucky Walter. Yeah.
It's so fun. What are you calling? Where are you calling from? Oh, the Bucky Walters.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. That is such a cool thing.
So that's the history of Boonesville, Boontling, and brings us to now the Pilsner. The beer.
Which, it is a Pilsner, for sure. Like, the taste is that crispy, little bitter. You know what I mean? Like, right away. Not super heady.
Yeah, I always kind of think of... Now, they make cider, like, alcohols, like cider. But I kind of think of apple juice when I think when I have a Pilsner. I
think it tastes so closely to...
it's like Dad's apple juice.
I think there's white wine I've had that tastes like cider. I mean, not cider. Tastes like Pilsners,
That
like
crispy.
especially like flat champagne.
Mhm.
I think flat champagne, if you take the sweetness out, kind of has that bitter Pilsner.
That one spot of the tongue that kind of
Yeah.
goes numb.
Right
Which
on
I'm
the
wondering if that's going to be the main thing I feel for the next part of this experiment.
Which is
The swish test.
here's the thing, man.
That's what it is. We
Every
switched
episode,
it. We switched it at some point.
I don't think so. I think you just never started calling it the
Mm.
push it through your teeth test,
Oh, all right.
which I'd appreciate if you called it that from here on out. Ken, you know what time it is. We're going to take a tablespoon amount of the beer in our mouth. You're going to let it roll on over like molasses over the back sides of your tongue to that little, pit between your tongue and your molars.
Mm.
Then you're going to swish it from side to side.
Mhm.
And then you can put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and push the beer through the front of your teeth. Hopefully get it nice and aerated and sudsy and get that full palate flavor. While I do that, Pat,
Yeah.
what you tasting?
Yep. The tip of my tongue is now numb. And from that champagne-y, crispy taste. And I feel like I'm going to have to do one more to see, because that's the overbearing flavor on the front there.
Whoa. I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah.
Oddly, apple juice. Like that's a very like apple-y note. It's not the overwhelming taste, but like I can definitely taste apple, especially after that last little bit on the tip of my tongue. I don't really know. I'll be honest. Pilsner is like one of those good, like dark horse beers that I don't know dick all about.
Mhm.
Like I don't know what decide, like what
Makes it a good one.
Yeah.
Or
I'm a Cicerone, but not a Pilsner Cicerone.
Yes, I agree, because I think, like, for me, a Pilsner is just kind of what I go for when I want a beer that's not like
Light.
not a Montucky or a Coors,
Mhm.
but like a little nicer. But I want to still be in that light area, So,
Mhm.
and I think it's probably an all year beer, but definitely more so spring. It's like a spring beer,
Not a fall beer.
late
I
spring
don't think it's
beer.
a fall beer.
Mm-mm.
It's what this does taste like to me. This could be a game day beer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna be eating food
Mm-hmm.
with this, nachos, burgers, brats.
Yep, they pair it on their website with ahi poke, crab, grilled trout, laksa. I don't know what laksa is. I'm a
Lots of these nuts.
laksa and Jaeger schnitzel, lamb gyros, grilled barbecue chicken, and brie cheese. So, like, if you're a fancy,
All of those sound like game day.
yeah, so I was going to say, but like it's like
Fancy
you're a
game day.
fancy game dayer.
Yeah.
You're not having the Coors Light. You're getting the Pilsner,
Yeah.
and you're up in the game from Velveeta to brie.
Are the Packers on, but you also live in Silicon Valley?
Mm-hmm.
That's what your game day food is.
Yep, I agree. I think you are on the money.
Just for note, a Pilsner has usually a low to moderate hoppiness flavor, which I wonder what the IBU on these is. It's for all the words on
It's
the can. I don't see it.
It's 30.
30, which is, I mean, that's more than most beers. I would say,
Mhm.
like, especially if you're not an IPA, that's way more than what most beers are if they're not an IPA. But it's also got a moderate amount of malt to it,
Mhm.
which I do think the maltiness is probably the like most prevalent flavor. At least it's the one that lingers, I think, on the tongue for sure. It does have a very malty taste, and I think this one goes for it. I think this one hits it pretty well. I will say the only thing about this Anderson Valley Pils,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, and this could be many things, right? This could be, how long did this beer sit on the shelf?
Mm-hmm.
When was it officially brewed or whatever? A lot of things could have happened, but I'm going to say this. I think they just went too far on this one in the hoppiness. It's just a little too far that if it's not an IPA, then it's a little too hoppy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel about it, but
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
I agree, because I feel like it's like this is a Pilsner brewed by IPA brewers. Like it didn't quite get the last. Like when you have a metal water bottle, if you drink like tea,
You used to put vodka in it when you
Yeah.
were in college.
yeah, It's never coming out.
It just smells that way forever.
Or like you actually left like peppermint tea in there. For
I know what you're
time.
talking about, but I don't do
there.
that because of this reason.
Exactly, because you learned your lesson.
The lined Hydro Flask,
Yes,
smells like whatever was last in it forever.
Yeah, yep. This is why
and if it's not water, it's going to smell stanky.
Yep. And so that's what this is kind of like. It's like a Pilsner that's been brewed in an IPA
Hydro Flask. Yeah. No, I agree. That's actually 100% the taste.
Yeah.
A good Pilsner brewed out of that. Because I do think it is a good Pilsner. I like it. I don't think I could recommend it for everybody, though, because of that hoppy edge to it. Mm-hmm. In fact, I would wager that most people who want a lighter, crisper beer would be like people who were like, I can't drink more than a sip of an IPA. Wouldn't be able to have more than a sip of this.
Yeah.
So, I guess with that, you ready to give it a thumber?
I'm ready. And I am giving it... I'm giving it a 1 thumb.
Okay.
It's close to a 0.
Yeah.
Just because... there's not like a lot of like wowing flavors in it, right? But maybe that's why it's worth a 1 thumb, because it's not supposed to be this like overbearing thing going on, So I feel like there is I've had Pilsners that I like better, and probably part of this is that we're just talking about the hoppiness, and so, but it's still a good beer.
Yeah.
I'd drink it. I'd give it to somebody.
Yeah, I definitely think it is a good beer. As someone who doesn't always like Pilsners, because sometimes I think Pilsners come off flat to me. And I think I feel that way just because most cheap beer is a Pilsner. At least I think so. Like I think a Budweiser, a Bud Light, a Coors Light, Coors Platinum, I think most of those always have a more Pilsner taste to them than anything else. And that could be just...
And they are Pilsners.
They all are, yeah.
Budweiser is,
yeah. So I think with that, like the uphill battle is for any Pilsner from a small craft brewery is making sure it doesn't taste like those.
Right.
It doesn't make you think it tastes flat just because you've had flat beer, but it also is a Pilsner and tastes like a Pilsner. So all that said, no thumbs.
No thumbs.
I appreciate what they do, and I'm super partial to Anderson Brewery just because of the nostalgia that I have with them. I love their Gosas. I like most of the beer they make. I can't think of one that I didn't like. But when it comes to like, could I recommend this to everyone? I don't think I could. And I don't think it would be a good first Pilsner for most people. This is like a Pilsner you get if you know you like IPAs.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, this is the Pilsner I would get if I knew my buddy was an IPA guy, but I don't like IPAs. This is the middle ground because I think he'd like it and be delighted by it, and I would be happy to not be drinking an IPA.
I think that's a fair assessment.
All right, so Mick and Pat show. Anderson Valley, the Pilsner, gets 1 thumb up, which is, hey, if you know our ratings, if you know our scale, that's a good rating.
It's better than nothing.
Anything that's not a thumb down is a win.
This is true.
Anyways, moving on over to the show of the evening, season 2 of the beef. Oh no, sorry, of the bear. Episode 1 is called Beef.
Yep.
So we reviewed season 1 back around, what was it?
It was our second Brews and Reviews.
Yeah, it was like November last year when we recorded it, I think.
Yeah.
But the show also took a little while to come out, but your boy Pat been sleeping on his binge game, which honestly is not something that I really want to give him a hard time about because that's like such an unhealthy habit of just sitting and watching a whole show in like a week. But we all do it, or most of us do it now. But anyways, so it's taken Pat a little while to get around to it. I had to do a refresher because I watched most of it back in like June when it came out. But season 2, and to give kind of a little bit of recap of the show and information for those who might be just coming around but haven't watched season 1 or 2 yet. Season 2 of The Bear finds Carmy and company scrambling to open The Bear, a Chicagoan fine dining restaurant pulled straight from Carmy's own dreams. However, Carmy, in his lack of foresight, agrees to having The Bear open up by an unrealistic deadline in order to receive funding of mobster money from his loan shark family friend, Uncle Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And with everything at stake, can Carmy and company get their act together to have The Bear open and making money in time? Or will Uncle Jimmy come reaping and a sowing? Which, honestly, the plot, that like idea of the plot, I think is really just more of like a very like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like the most basic like van, like just a Ford. What was like the most basic van model?
Like the Ford E150.
Just whatever, every fudge and plumber.
Exactly. Yeah, the Ford E150.
Yeah, and like the plot is just the Ford E150 to carry the themes and I guess visualizations and smaller stories that the show contains within. It's like all the cool tools in the van are worth way more than the van itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think season 2 really seems. Season 1 seemed to me very dedicated on a single premise. It was very tight. Almost everything took place in the kitchen. Season 2 really leaves that behind and goes and explores and follows different characters on different kind of arcs. And so I would say like season 2 really at its core is about the art and spirituality around food and like to make food, to eat food, to enjoy food. It's artistic, it's spiritual. The uniqueness and pride of family, you know, this family is crazy. It drives me insane, but it is the only one like it. And I love it. It's mine. And then I also have here kind of to describe it. It's the folly of grinding for the next thing and how kind of foolish or insane that is at times, as well as the beauty of a quote unquote well-oiled machine. And that's really what I think viewers can expect from the show in a whole, you know, season 1, season 2, but I think that's way more prevalent in season 2. I think season 1 felt way more like watching a train derail and all the cars pile up and then everybody got out okay. You know what I mean? Like you're watching like, this is a disaster. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't look away. And then like the conductor and crew step out and do like a cartwheel. And you're like, oh, okay. Everyone's all right. All right.
You can't take your eyes off season 1, you know? Like the
season 1 is like, just like, you're right. It is just chaos that you're like, wow, I wish I could look away.
And you feel stressed.
And the thing is too, in season 2, I went in, I think all of us went in like, oh wow, this is going to be like, there's more at stake now. Carmy, so, you know, season 1, Carmy, I don't want to spoil too much of season 1, especially if people haven't watched it. But Carmy is opening this restaurant that he's dreamt about, had almost nightmares really about, like dreams and kind of vivid, lucid dreams,
like visions.
Yeah, visions of like, I have to do this because if I don't, it will consume me. You know, almost like I think sometimes there's like some dreams that almost make it seem like if he doesn't do it, he should be punished. You know what I mean? Like I think he sees, you know, visions of dead family members that seem like they will be very disappointed in him if he doesn't do it. And I think back into season 1, there's that dream of the bear literally coming out of the cage about to maul him in the middle of the street
on the bridge.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. Like it just really seems like the whole thing is like this is a drive within him that he has to do. And everyone is encouraging it. Everyone is supporting it, and like no one seems to question it. I can't remember. Like I said, it's been a while since I watched each individual episode, but in the recaps, I can't remember when I was reviewing the highlights and stuff. Anyone ever questioning his vision? Like I don't remember any of the family or anyone being like, I don't know, Carmy, are you sure we should open this restaurant? Everyone seemed to be like, no, dude, like this is let's do it. And we'll follow you.
Yeah, I think he won them over. Like season 1, like they're loyal to him.
Yeah,
you know, and they're in. Yeah, they're in on the the mission.
Especially season 1, we do get to see, right? Isn't everything kind of restored by the end of season 1? Anyone who quit in the middle or whatever during the season, they are all back together.
It was one of those ones where
it wrapped up.
They could have stopped.
Yeah.
They could have just, they didn't leave it hanging. It was wrapped up real nice.
Yeah. Okay.
With a future.
It was open cards, but I do remember it now being
resolution.
very tied up. But anyways, so that was kind of the expectation I had coming in, chaos. And immediately I felt like we were rushing through the chaos. Like episode 1 of this, I felt it was out of character for Carmi to just blurt out an actual tighter deadline to like what Uncle Jimmy was giving him originally. Like Uncle Jimmy was like, what are the terms? When will I get this? When will the restaurant be open for me to start making money back? And they're discussing it, and he's like, how about this date? Carmi's sister, what's her name? They call her Sweetie. No, Sugar. They call her Sugar, but Nat Sugar. She like agrees to it while Carmi says an earlier date. And I'm just like, what? And it was kind of like it reminded me of kind of like, I don't know, like the other show that I've seen Jeremy Allen in is Shameless. And it kind of reminded me of that show because that show is like just absolute disasters of people stumbling into like better circumstances regardless of how awful they are as people. And like awful as a family. And it just felt like a little out of character. And it felt like I was like, would Carmi really do that? I feel like Carmi would. I feel like he's calculating and not egotistical.
He's not like a gambling addict.
Yeah, he's not like, this isn't a dick measuring contest. But it was one of those things where like that immediately felt different. And then it felt to me like the show's pacing in episodes after that, we really don't get a lot of seeing the bear rebuilt. And like I don't ever think we get like a real blueprint shot, do we?
No, I'd say that's one thing where they do kind of like
I didn't know what the layout was until close to the last episode.
And I wonder if it was somewhat intentional in this, like in the first season, everything happens in the kitchen. Like 4 or 5 scenes or parts are like outside of the kitchen.
And some of it's like, the dining area, the front room, but but
never even really customers. Like often, like they're not even showing them actually see customers. It's just always like this moment of like prepping to serve people in the kitchen, and now there is no kitchen. So now it's like, so this is, I'm almost like
we go to other people's kitchen.
Yeah, so I'm like, and this is like maybe giving the benefit of the doubt in some ways where it's like it's pushed outward now. Like it is nothing. So now they're like, in the same way they didn't show us. They never showed us their like final products happening out like when the rush came and they serving people or when what they're actually doing now. It's like we didn't get to see they just did the opposite now. They pushed us out of that space and we didn't get to be in there.
Okay, but
and I don't know if I don't know if that was even like if that was an intentional thought or if that's just how it happened. Right?
Let me ask this. Is this are you in defense of that stepping out of the kitchen, do you think? Because I think I am coming at it a little accusatory of I feel like I missed out on something I really looked forward to.
Right.
And for reference, did you ever see the McDonald's movie with let me pull it up.
I haven't seen it, but I know which movie you're talking about.
It's with please enjoy this momentary break while we look at it. All right, it's called The Founder. It's got Michael Keaton, plays Ray Kroc, Nick Offerman, who plays Dick McDonald, and John Carroll Lynch, who plays Mac McDonald. And literally, origin story of McDonald's. And I think my favorite scene is Michael Keaton watching and essentially like a what's it called? The people who lead the orchestra. You know what I'm talking about? Conductor. He's like the conductor while Nick Offerman and John Carroll Lynch are chalking out the outline of the McDonald's kitchen. And it's just the outline of their one restaurant and how they could rearrange things. And they pulled all of their staff like out of work. None of them are getting paid for this. All their staff just come to the park and they take their positions and they run around rehearsing, rehearsing what they would do. And they're like, no, that won't work. This is too slow. And so they re-chalk out where things are. And it's all contained in this small McDonald's restaurant space. And they get it to a point where like it is crazy fast. And it's how they create fast food. You can see the kitchen back when McDonald's was this beautiful, delicious, fast, great food from, private, like small town America. You could see how that small town America feel of like, we're all a team making this artwork. And we're a well-oiled machine. And to see that was thrilling because it really wasn't nearly as stressful in a train wreck as the bear.
Right.
And I felt deprived of that. I felt seriously just indignation towards like, I'm pissed I didn't get to see them argue over where the stoves are going to be, where this station is, where this station is. You know what I mean? And I really wanted that. I really wanted it.
Because if they thought they did that, they really only did it briefly, where they did show, like, they show they show lines taped out, and they are like, it's just two of them working through it, right?
Yep.
So I say the only parts we see of this, we do see Carmi and Sydney like working that out, and then in the final episode, we see it.
It's done,
maybe to fruition, but we don't see that like, we don't see that team building thing. Right? So they don't really show the whole that. They don't show that come together, and so I think that, and that's what I wonder. I'm not in defense of either way. I'm just saying, was it intentional or was it a miss?
I think it was intentional. I'm pissed about it. That's why I think I'm upset about it. Also, this season, man, this season brought in a love interest for Carmi to distract him. That bummed me out.
To dash Odysseus
I also
upon the rocks.
Dude, I also felt like for some reason, I think that was something my wife and I both agreed on. I think Billie Jean and I both felt like it was out of character for Carmi to be so mean and irrational about their relationship. Like, he can have moments where he blows up and explodes in the kitchen for sure, right? But he always seemed like, he's been going to group for like family members of, loved ones who committed suicide and like kind of trauma grief share groups, right? And you just see like he processes a lot of it, and he really only loses his marbles in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And like, I just felt like this idea that like he wouldn't be able to balance a relationship with work, especially like with a girl who seems to be such a big fan of him chasing his dream. Like, I don't remember anything, correct me too, Pat, I might be wrong here, but I can't remember any time where she's like, Carmi, you need to make more time for me.
Right.
Like, I just remember her being like patient, stoked for him. And he blows her off a couple times, but I don't ever remember her being like ultimatum stuff. She's
not like, and like, he takes like one half of a day to like go for a drive with her, and they make it like he's totally shirking his like responsibilities of opening the place. Yeah. Granted, it is grind time, and he set the date for the staff, and then he's not there.
Exactly.
But she's not like she's probably she's one of the only good people in the show in some way. Like in some ways, like as far as, like,
she's
like,
a sweet, innocent
she's
girl.
Normal. She's holding down a job.
Yeah.
She has her crap together.
She's a nurse, a frontline hero.
Yeah. And so the, for the, the love interest piece, I think I liked it, but I think that it was.
I liked seeing him fall. Like, I liked seeing him fall for her.
Right. Yeah, that's the part I liked. And then I feel like they tried to do so much. I'll say this. They tried to do so much in this season.
It was a lot.
With these short form episodes. Yeah. It's 10 episodes, ranging from about 30 to 50 minutes on these, and much longer than like the first season episodes were.
20 to, I think the longest one is 40 minutes.
But they they get into lots of characters. They get into backstory stuff. They get into, people who aren't even in the show anymore or whatever, or never will be in the show. And it's, so I think they did pack a lot into this, where you did end up missing. It might have, while the supporting characters were developed, our main character wasn't developed necessarily in the same way. He's the same person.
Like he was devolved. I really did feel like Carmi got
by the last episode. I'd say certainly.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like the last episode for sure makes it seem like Carmi's kind of like. I remember like the last episode felt like gross to me a little bit. Like the last episode of him having his meltdown or whatever, right? Which is no spoiler. He has a couple meltdowns throughout the season of like just stress and stuff from the kitchen of both seasons. But like he has a meltdown and then something happens and it feels just kind of like the show went from like, yeah, it's a bummer, right? It's unfortunate, to kind of like, haha, look at this stupid nerd. Like it felt kind of like the show was bullying him a little bit. Like I felt like the writers or director of it, and it maybe it is just, the director of photography and the way things are framed. Maybe it was some of the acting or the writing. All that said, by the end of the last episode, I was like, I do not like the way the show is treating Carmi. Like I feel like someone doesn't like his character, and they don't like that the audience likes him. Honestly, it kind of feels the way Cormac McCarthy feels about Gus. You know what I mean? Like you and I are like, Gus is awesome. Sorry, not Cormac McCarthy.
No, that's the only name.
McCleary.
Now I have Michael Martin Murphy saying they're a country artist. Oh my gosh.
McMurtry. Larry McMurtry.
Yeah.
It feels like the way Larry McMurtry feels about Gus, right? He hates that everybody loves Gus.
Yeah.
So therefore he tries to make him a less likable person and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just kind of left that bad taste in my mouth, with this. So that said, I do think this season, that's like the handoff. And I don't think it was a necessary handoff because, like you said, we get so much packed in following other characters and other stories, and a lot of them are very rich. But I don't think it was necessary to kind of hurt my boy.
Right.
Like, it's okay to show him go through ups and downs. It's okay to show that he's fallible, that he makes mistakes. But at the end, it just felt like it was picking on him. And I don't know if you feel that way too, or like it just felt unjustified.
I do, because I'll move into some spoilers here, some specifics too, because so if you want to get out and watch it, watch both seasons. It's TV worth watching, but get out now, go see it. But so here's the deal: the last scene, or the last, I'll jump all the way to the last episode for a second, where he's spent all of his time, all of his effort, really, on getting this restaurant to go. It's night one, and they're launching, soft launch, whatever, friends and family launch, and he ends up locked in the freezer.
Because someone else never fixed it.
Yeah.
Another character never fixed it.
It was his job.
Oh, was it Carmi's job to fix the handle?
It was his job to call the fridge guy.
Oh, I thought it was... Okay, you're right.
It was his job to fix the fridge, and he never called the fridge guy, so now he's locked in the walk-in freezer. But
isn't it like, too, he forgot to call the guy because he was hanging out with his girlfriend?
That's part of it. He was doing the deed. He's falling in love, and he wasn't on his game. So, and there's other beautiful parts about this last episode, but in this specific instance, he is inconsequential. He's unneeded for success, and he's not there to reap the benefits and the rewards of his efforts.
Yeah,
and so
that's like the big thing is like I remember now. Yeah, the whole show, like he gets locked in the freezer, has his moment of panic, and Richie and Sydney are like. If he dies, he dies.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah.
And like it's just like it runs without him flawlessly. Which is like, why sacrifice his love interest over this if they didn't even need him to be here?
Or in one sense that means he's great.
Yeah, he's
Right,
enabled
right.
them. He's enabled the opportunities for them to go become great.
But in the other sense, there was like this thing of like robbing him of his. And so, because that whole last episode, it starts off showing. First of all, it starts off showing him like with his girlfriend. But then it starts showing him like cracking down in the alley, like shaking, losing his mind, and they don't really put the pressure on him about why he's losing it.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, they did miss on Carmi's development, as well as like they didn't really give good, clear reasons why he was totally cracking under pressure and falling out. And they really have never they've never said why he stopped working at the #1 restaurant in the world. Like they just know that he stopped, but like
we're never given the scene of him,
a clear thing of him leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because his brother died? Is it because he couldn't handle the pressure? Did he get fired? Did he lose his mind? So, and they also, while they never gave us that, they've never alluded to it as if that's a bigger part of the story in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say they're missing on him for sure. But I think there's some other characters too that, I think 2 in particular that we could probably get into is Marcus and Richie.
Episode 4, Honeydew follows Marcus in Denmark, learning desserts from our boy with the eyebrows.
And you said this was one of your favorite episodes was Marcus in Denmark. Was it Denmark?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Denmark.
Learning to hone his craft and his passion.
And I think a lot of that was, it's hard for me to see not with rose-colored lenses, because I think a lot of it was nostalgia because, I also got to go to like Norway for a month, spend a little time in Amsterdam and Germany while I was out there. And so like there just felt like a weird, like, whoa, that looks so much like
those scenes of the buildings and like the rivers and bridges and the boats and everything.
I was staying not in hotels.
Yeah.
I was staying in like family homes and church homes and hostels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it just felt very familial.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like, I was like Marcus. I was a single man, just living life, in college, right? And like learning stuff about the world and getting up crazy early, going to bed late. And I just remember it just felt a lot of like that. So, and when I saw that on context, I was like, I don't know. It just felt so familial. So it could have been a bad episode. I don't know. Yeah. But I watched it and I was like, oh man, this is great. The nostalgia is so strong in this for me.
I think the art, the cinema art in it was really well done and really pleasing. And then the other part of it was though, the discipline to just this like, honestly guys, this dessert is like going to be $85. It's going to be 1.5 bites and it's going to taste like sugar.
You think that's going to be $85? I'm betting that's a 3-digit dessert.
But whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's ridiculous, and it's like it probably doesn't taste better than a Twix bar to the uncouth.
Bro,
right?
Dude, someone out there is listening to this.
I know.
We have a homie who's a chef. He's listening to this right now. Just like, I'm hurt. I will show them.
The presentation of the dish doesn't make it taste like a gummy bear. So anyways, but that being said, it's just like, whatever the scene is where he's like, he's nervous. He's not really wanting, he's kind of just getting started, but then, his mentor is helping teach him through constructive criticism, telling him when it's wrong, telling him when he's doing it right. And even the way you drizzle the dots on the plate matter. Right. And so I think that watching him, like, he's like a blade and he's like, and the blade has already gone through all the steps except for like the strop, like the last thing on the blade that just refines the edges to like that perfect point. And that's what this was. I think, was this like turning him into that, taking all his passions and his knowledge and then refining it to that perfect spot. And so it was, and it's funny because Marcus, even in the first season, was one of one of the people who got to have his own little side story in the even like in the kitchen. He is the side story.
I will say
he's just over in his own little station, right?
Yeah, and I really wanted to smack him. Like
I just,
season like, 1, I just wanted to hit him. Like not because he's a bad dude,
yeah,
but just because he seemed so far up his own ass that he was literally dragging the restaurant behind.
Just make exactly. Like you're putting your little details and wants above the goal here.
Yeah, which if I can say anything too, I think like season 2 made me rage more. Because before I get to it, let's talk about the other one. Let's talk about the Richie episode, because the Richie episode is definitely the most like I don't know, gives me Reservoir Dog vibes. Like just like it's just so powerful, and like the most iconic line of the season I think comes from that one. Is where Richie puts on a tailored suit, a fitted tailored suit, and as he's looking at his shoulders and like snugging up, it's like it feels like armor.
Yeah.
And the other guy looks at him and was like, that's the point, Richie.
Yeah.
And it's because like he is the front line. Not only does he have to go and give the head chef's commands to the rest of the chef in the restaurant and hold that restaurant down, he has to be the buffer between what the customers need and what is falling behind and managing that, as well as being the face of the customers, dealing with all the customer shit and being aware of like, what will make this a unique customer experience. And like that idea, I was like, bro, Richie just became a paladin, dude. Like he just he had his moment where like the power unlocked and you could see it in the actor's eyes, which is sorry, and I forgot to mention this earlier. Eben Moss Bachrach, I think that's like a more Greek name or something, is who plays Richie. And Ao Edibiri is Sydney. And let me get it back to episode 4 real quick.
Lionel Bryce.
Yeah,
Lionel Boyce.
Lionel Boyce is who plays Marcus. Who are definitely the ones that we get the most time with this season.
And so Richie's life up to this point, from what we know that what we know of Richie, he's loyal, but he's an orphan. You know, in the sense of he's familyless. But he's kind of latched on. He's semi-adopted into
really
this family.
A cousin? I can't remember if he's really a cousin or if
he's not.
Okay,
he's not. But they call each other cousins. So he was best friends with Mikey, and so we know he's loyal, and that he's passionate. And other than that, he's just ruining his life. He's failed marriages.
He's a deadbeat.
He's a deadbeat. He's like.
Drinks too much, sleeps in, misses his kids' stuff.
Exactly, and can't hold it down, and says inappropriate things, says stuff at the wrong time, shows up.
Never his fault.
And he never takes takes accountability for his actions, and just kind of rode Mikey's coattails, as his buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but at the same time, he is this like this bad guy you love, in the sense like in the first season. He's selling cocaine, but why does he sell cocaine? To keep the restaurant going.
He don't do it.
He's like, so this kind of like, this like, he's loyal to the family, kind of the old family mobster vibe stuff,
He's definitely, I think that hurt for me. The episode I want to talk about the most, is him looking for an opportunity with Uncle Jimmy, and Uncle Jimmy shirking him.
Yeah.
And it's like, he is old school family, a little bit of the mobster type, but the issue is that he's way more, he has what it takes. He just was never let in.
Yeah, he wasn't given a shot.
And it hurts to see, because you can see he got stonewalled pretty hard.
Yep. And he's on that, he's just right outside the circle, and so, he wants more for his life, but it just doesn't go. Like he messes it up or he gets dealt bad hand, And so, but in this episode, it shows him waking up in his house. There's crap everywhere. It's disorganized. He shows up to this Michelin star restaurant, and his first job is to clean and organize forks. That's the name of the episode, is Forks, and he shows up saying, I'm above this. I've run a restaurant before. I don't need to clean a fork, right? But he gets Mr. Miyagi'd, right? You know,
Yeah.
he's just, all right, you will
A
do.
little stereotypical that they had an Asian guy, Mr. Miyagi.
This is true. But
Anyways,
he was a clean looking guy.
clean looking dude.
And so.
Cleared up. My favorite
You know,
part. Part of my French. My favorite part of the episode, head chef tells the dude training Richie, whose fault is that? My chef. Fuck you. Fuck me, chef.
Yeah.
Like, like the funniest thing in the world to me was that moment.
And that's even in that moment too. It was hilarious, and it was an example to Richie, because Richie
was.
in that moment,
You see Richie look at him.
at the beef back in the beef days, he would have blown up, thrown a bowl against the wall, ran outside, smoked a cigarette, right? And so, it's just I call him Richie 2.0 because he gets his crap together, and when you really see that he's changing, I think is first when he wakes up to go to the job, and he's been cleaning forks for days, and on his way out the door, he cleans up his kitchen island and reorganizes it really quick, kind of like he doesn't even know he's doing it. He's just kind of like, oh, get this in order, and then goes out the door. And that's the day that they move him to the next level, and then he starts excelling, right? And so it's just like the wax on, wax off.
Oh, it so is.
Comes into practice.
Yeah.
And he just
paintbrush.
And from there, he's like, and it's hilarious too, where like he keeps cussing, and they're like, we don't use those words here, and he just like he has to start watching his mouth, and eventually he's like correcting other people's mouth, and he's had the foulest mouth in the whole show.
Yeah, he's had the most profane language.
And so I think I love it because I like watching this block of clay get molded into what it's meant to be, you know? And so,
well, because it's like the excitement, I think, of like, you see how he's developing. And even though we don't really get to see, like, we don't see him, you know, impress his ex-wife to let him get more time with his daughter. We don't really see that. But it's like the thing of like, you see his conduct and character growing in this.
And when he comes back, he humbles himself, owns his crap to Natalie, and apologizes for who he's been and stuff. And so
owns
it's
up,
a
like,
really powerful scene too.
Which, even though I have no like siblings, right? No blood siblings. I remember my sister got whoops. Wow. Billie Jean's not gonna like that.
What? Oh.
I remember Billie Jean got emotional to like Richie owning up to his sister, and I thought that was cool because I felt like it was an emotional thing too, you know,
for sure. And well, one side note I was thinking of too is because at the end of the Forks episode with Richie, at some point in the show, he's trying to take his daughter to a Taylor Swift concert. It's not working out.
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, they're playing a T Swift song.
Yeah.
But they're just playing an instrumental, and it's an old school. It's a love story, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You know, like as the transition from country to pop was happening, but they're playing the instrumental the whole time, and you're like, man, why do I recognize this song so much?
Yeah.
And then you're like, I recognize it. And it's playing for like 3 minutes or something, like a long time in the show. And then it just cuts to him belting that song.
Yeah.
And
Marry me, Julia.
Yeah, he's just belting it in the car on his way home. And
dude, I'll be honest. If you're a dude and you've never belted out that song in the car by yourself, you ain't lived, bro.
Yeah.
If you ain't belted out Tim McGraw, Highway Don't Care, while zooming down the highway, you ain't lived, dog.
I think my favorite character arc of the season was Richie.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, without a doubt.
You know, and I think that was intended. You know, like that was a star shining through there, for sure.
I'd like more time with Maddie. I'll be honest. I wish we didn't get nearly enough time with Fat. Does he go by Fat in the show, or do they call him Maddie sometimes too?
Fack.
Fack.
Yeah, but they call him both. Well, so Neil Fack, because his real name is Maddie.
Yeah,
so,
and he's really a professional chef, which I know we said last episode too, but he's like the only person qualified to like tell anyone what to do.
Yeah, and he's the maintenance guy. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
He's a great character.
He's awesome, and so I want more time with him too. The Christmas episode,
the banger. This is the trauma episode.
Yeah,
season 1 had the pickup order, delivery order meltdown episode where they enabled pre-orders that were like it was 500 pre-orders before the restaurant opened.
Yeah, they didn't put a governor on that.
Yeah, and that's the meltdown episode. This season, the meltdown episode is the flashback to Christmas.
Yep.
With Carmi's mom when Mikey was still alive,
and it gives us a window into like, okay, we've heard the family's effed up. Why are they effed up? Are they that effed up? What's going on? And
it's the mom.
It's the mom.
Holy
dude.
shit, is that mom
Bat shit crazy.
Okay, Jamie Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis. Sorry, I bet you want your middle name pronounced. I've always thought she's an okay actress.
Yeah, I think she's. I'd say I was.
I've never expected much from her.
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday. She's totally great. She's better than Lindsay Lohan.
That's not Oscar material.
No,
that's okay,
and it doesn't need to be. But I don't know if I've ever seen a movie or TV show that in one episode made me think it was okay to kill your mom more. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, I was just watching that, and I legit was like, I was trying to think if my mother was like that.
Like, what would you be like?
I'd fucking smother her, dude. Mother, I love you. You listen to this podcast. I love you, mama. I would smother you.
That lady,
like, if you were
was
that
abusive. She was bad.
So abusive, so mean. Oh my gosh. Like, the most nightmarish. Like, how could you ever marry into that family? Once you met her and once you saw her. Like, I get it's a lot of it is like wrapped up in mental health and mental illness.
I just had Iron Maiden in my head. Just run for the hills.
Oh, easy. That's as much as we could say.
That's what I would do though, dude.
Oh yeah, bro. Because it's like, it is beyond like rude, mean, catty mother-in-law. She might.
Unstable.
She literally might drown our grandkids just because she has a breakdown. You know, like, she's dangerous. She's legitimately dangerous. Doesn't she? She drives the car through the front of the house, right?
Yeah.
At the end, she could have killed somebody.
Oh yeah.
That's like, all right. Like, I was shocked she was still alive for the season finale. Like, when they're like, we should invite Ma.
Yeah, I thought she was dead at that point because they've not mentioned her since.
I was like, I don't know. I was just like, if she's not dead, did anyone like just like put her away, like take her out to the woods,
lobotomy,
at least, or take her to like a mental health clinic, right? Something. Don't just let her live free, roaming the streets of Chicago. She's a menace, dude. I don't know. That was a rough episode. That was like, I don't think I enjoyed a minute of that episode. There's not one moment I enjoyed, which is probably the point.
What I like about this show in general is it makes other TV shows, other things, you can be hyper gory or hyper sexualized or hyper whatever, how they do stuff. It doesn't make me feel anything. I don't feel stuff when I watch a lot of stuff.
Like the Terminal List.
Right, yeah. I do.
I wanted to hurt you.
Just wanted to throw it in there.
I really wanted to hurt you.
But I would agree in that too, where like, you know, or that, you know, in thriller action, different application, but then in most of the things I watch, so they just like, I'm like, you know, I'm just watching it, you know. Whereas The Bear, I feel when I'm watching it, I feel something. I feel emotions. I feel pulled this way and that way, and they do it really well. And in this episode, even if you have a healthy family dynamic, you're just like watching it like, oh my God, I can see how this would definitely, this is a Christmas. This is a Christmas dinner. You know, like oh my gosh. This is
a Christmas.
That final episode, you know, Carmi's locked in the freezer, like we already talked about. He doesn't get to see the fruits of his labor. He completely wrecks his relationship with this girl because he lashes out. Kind of unfair that she was on the other side. He was expressing himself, and he
kind of not a good wingman move to not be like, Carmi, shut up, Carmi, shut up.
Yeah. So,
dude, Pat, back me up. Would you ever let me get more than like 5 words into that meltdown?
No.
If Billie Jean was on the other side,
no, dude. Because here's the deal: we all have our thoughts and feelings.
You'd get the gun. and you shoot it and make us deaf so no one hears anything.
Yeah, it's yeah. So he did get left hanging there for sure, and a little unfair that you don't get to when you express your deepest thoughts and emotions, that you don't even mean the person standing there. But what I did love about this final episode was Sydney and Richie just rocking it out, doing their thing, and all the people in the kitchen executing to their full potential. Why do we as humans love a team of individualists coming together so much? Where you have we love it. Humans love this. Maybe Americans, I don't know who I love this.
Avengers, bro.
It's
the Avengers.
You have individuals who are self-made in their own way. They're quirky. They are rebels. They have their flaws. But when they come together in a team and execute, we love it. Sydney humbles herself where she needs to cover Carmi, and so she gives the ball to Richie. And Richie, all right, you're team captain. Let's go. He's in charge. And then he takes 2 seconds to steady himself, and then boom, 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 boom. He's just executing. And it's like, I love it. I love that thing about humans.
I agree. And I think actually, I appreciate you saying that, because I don't think we're really aware of it, but the worst heist movies are the ones where it's not individuals. Ocean's 11, bro. Ocean's 11 is individuals. Ocean's 12 doesn't feel like it. Ocean's 12 feels like we skimmed over what everyone's been up to. And Ocean's 12 doesn't fit as much because it feels like we're way more focused on just 3 characters rather than the 11. Reservoir Dogs goes wrong, but they're all individuals with their different personalities and quirks and different things revealed. And of course, Avengers. Avengers, having a decade to build each individual and then let them have their moment of shining fan service, which was excellent. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot like comic book movies, whatever. The last 2 Avenger movies are just pure nonstop hype because of the payoff.
Right.
And I think it is like what you said to that credit. Seeing distinctly individual people that we recognize are individuals. We've learned about them, empathized, related to them. And then they come together as a unit, which is honestly what we all do every day, right? In our work, in our family, whatever it is. And maybe it's just because it's the most relatable kind of depiction in media. But anyways, I don't know where the show goes from here, which is kind of how I feel about season 1. I genuinely think the Bears season 1 might have... This is hard for me to say.
Outdone itself.
Not just that. I enjoyed season 2. I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I had more frustrations with it than I did with season 1 for sure. Season 1 felt like lightning in a bottle. Season 2 felt like it was watered down quite a bit. At least in just regards to like what I enjoyed from season 1 to season 2. There's a lot of new things they did I enjoyed, but the direction of Carmi really hurt me. You know what I mean? Like just it felt soiled a little bit. So I think with that, I can't decide if it would have been better in my opinion, just my opinion, not a fact, right? But I can't decide if I would have rather just seen season 1 and let it be lightning in a bottle. Let it be that thing that like, I don't want to see more of this Carmi.
Right.
I don't want to see more of Carmi hurting. I'm afraid in season 3, they'll let the restaurant burn down.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, okay, but Carmi's like dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
So like, I guess all that said, do I think the season 2 is good? Yes. Is it a glowing full throttle 2 thumbs up? Not in any way, shape, or form. If someone told me I really didn't like season 2, would I have a bone to pick? Not at all. I'd get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that, I don't give season 2 any thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 is a no thumber for me.
Yeah.
It's good,
Mm-hmm.
but man, is there better TV that didn't leave me
Mm-hmm.
disappointed like it did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's maybe where it got lost.
Yeah.
You can have the super stressful, while I hate this, I don't want to be a part of this,
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable scenarios, as long as you don't take away the things that are enjoyed outside of it, the redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they just humiliated
Mm-hmm.
our boy Carmi rather than redeem him,
Mm-hmm.
which maybe they're doing so they can do an ultimate season 3 pickup.
Right.
Cool. Great. I don't like it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got some trivia you want to share with us? You copied most of these. You put most of these down and,
I
you
put
know,
most
did
of
the
those in
research.
there. When they were getting ready to film that episode Forks, where Richie has his transition, the crew was looking at a lot of sci-fi movies, Space Odyssey, Ridley Scott films, and they wanted to kind of create that mysterious atmosphere where they're, and it did feel that like that. When he's walking into this restaurant, I thought he was in a dream at first.
It did feel a little dreamlike.
I thought he was in a dream.
Yeah, it did.
You know, but then oh no, this is real life, and so and I think they did that really well. This otherworldly place when he's in this Michelin star restaurant. In the episode Fishes, we already talked about, you know, lots of big actors were brought on, or notable actors were brought on: Jamie Lee Curtis, Bob Odenkirk, Sarah Paulson, John Mulaney. But the cast found out about each guest star kind of like as they were cast, so they were kind of hyping them up, you know. And then also they didn't know who was going to play the role, you know. So it's like you're just like, okay, who's going to play the mom? Oh, what? Jamie Lee Curtis playing the mom? You know, so like
I bet that was a big deal too. You know, like she's a big name, regardless of what you think. Like Jamie Lee Curtis coming on for a potential 1 episode.
Yeah. And for a show that's been
hyped.
good, but it's not like, I mean, because of how much TV is being produced right now, it's not like I talked to a lot of people who watch TV, and I'm like, have you seen The Bear? And they're like, I've never heard of it, you know. Where so like, you know, coming on to something like that, right? Big deal. They're trying to figure out the suit for Richie, and they were going for Al Pacino in Heat. They were like, I just think that
Dude.
like he'd be like, you know, he's
Al Pacino in Heat does look like his suit does look like it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
like,
mean? Very John Wicky.
And Al Pacino's always buttoning and smoothing the front. I don't know if you noticed that. He's always buttoning and smoothing, but that's what Richie's doing a lot. He's always kind of like button and smooth, just like, you know, that's just
He does.
Like,
He does do a lot of the pull down, taut, double button, correct upper button,
yeah.
smooth breast pockets. Which is, I do that because I only have double button suits.
So you got to get him like Al Pacino.
It is a weird, like, subliminal, habitual thing.
Because it is, you're putting on your armor. In the second episode of the season, I thought it was hilarious when this happened, because I've been in a lot of crappy construction sites and like crappy remodels in my life, and they're like, everything's fine, it's all right, like this place is fine, and Richie pokes the ceiling with like a broom, and the whole ceiling falls down, and it's a cloud of black mold, which is just like, that's every time you do a remodel, this is the crap you get into.
What do you think they used for that? Because it looked so awful.
I don't know.
It legit, like, I was like, how did they do that? That looks like ashes.
I know. I don't know, because
dust.
I would love
like
to
charcoal
be
dust.
The prop master
Yeah.
of a movie. Just like, that's your job.
It looked so good.
Figure out what
It looks like
not,
cancer.
Yeah, figure out what's gonna not kill them, but look like it'll kill them. And so, but the guy who plays Richie, Eben, he's like, he wanted to use live rats. He's like, what if I poke this and like live rats start falling out of the ceiling? Which I think would have been awesome. It would have been awesome. But Disney, aka Hulu, they said, aka FX, was like,
no,
that's a no-go, mister.
Boo.
We're not dealing with live animals.
Which is ironic, because the mouse is free now, dude. The mouse is free of the shackles of Disney. Did you not know? copyright on Mickey Mouse expired. Mickey Mouse is free domain now.
What?
Anyone can use Mickey Mouse. You heard that right, folks.
Oh my
Go make your
gosh.
Mickey Mouse t-shirt free. You can't have Disney on it. You can't have the
What?
word Disney, but Mickey Mouse is free domain now.
Holy smokes.
A couple of ones. So in episode 4, when our boy Marcus is in Denmark, he gets a little white piece of paper from Carmi. And it says, Hvert stykken tæller, jeg elsker dig, which says every second counts and I love you. The only thing is Marcus doesn't ever know what this says in Dutch. So he doesn't know Carmi said I love you, which is just like, it's sad, dude. You know? Also in that same episode, the man just, you know, it's funny, a nice little cameo. The man that in distress that Marcus helps back on his feet, played by the acclaimed Danish journalist, writer, and food critic Martin Kongstad. And then this goof, I have to say, just because I have literally willfully locked myself in a cheap food freezer at a summer camp. All walk-in fridges have an emergency release button so you don't freeze to death and die.
Exactly. I feel like that was one downfall.
It's just like, do they know anyone who's ever worked in any restaurant ever?
They should have had both handles break, right? Like they all they had to do was
should have had it like earthquake,
right?
Collapse. I don't know. You know what I mean?
All they had to do was have like the handle gets ripped and they say, "Oh shoot, use the button," and then he rips off his, right? Because I had the same thought. I was just sitting there and I leaned to my wife and I'm like, I just said, if there was no way to get out of these fridges,
more people every year would die.
No, not every year.
Every day.
Every day, somebody would die in a fast food restaurant.
That's so true. I can't tell you how many times I let it close on me when I was a waiter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, go in the freezer, walk in, get this stuff, help out, you know, your chefs. Walk in there. I heard the door close behind me every single time.
Yeah.
As I'm pulling the cart out, I hit the button, release, walk out.
Across this great nation, you know how many kids are closing?
You know how many stoned waiters and waitresses
are closing down
cooks?
your food restaurants right now who would just be dead?
Yeah.
But so that was a miss on that. I thought just because it was like it pulled me out briefly, but I am the type of person who sees that. But anyways, yeah.
But that's the only real goof I got here. So with that, we gave our ratings. It gets a no thumb for me. I guess actually, did you give it a thumb?
I'm giving it one thumb because you know, I think last time I gave it 2.
I think we gave it a 4 thumbs.
It was a big one. And so this one I'm giving it a 1 thumb because like I said before, it's still watching it. I felt I was like the Grinch, you know, I'm like, I'm feeling, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, for that sake, you know, I felt stuff. I appreciated the acting, the cinematography, all this stuff. And,
it was good. I don't want people to think I didn't think it was good.
Right.
But is there better? I think so.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to give it that 1 thumb. It's right on the cusp, I'll say.
For sure.
Anyways, folks, our kin out there, thank you for joining us. We know who you are. We appreciate you. We thank you. We started getting into some reviews on our website, getting a lot of engagement on the YouTubes. We respond to comments. Comment on our videos. Let us know what you think. Also, subscribe, like, dislike. Let us know stuff. And definitely share the podcast with friends and family. We appreciate it. But all that said, we're so thankful for you. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed season 2 of The Bear as much as we did, if not more. And we look forward to talking to you next time. Till next time.
Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.